The foreign policy of any country consists of strategies chosen by the state to safeguard its national interests and to achieve goals within its international relations milieu. But to what extent is the average Nigerian knowledgeable of the country's foreign policy? At a public lecture held at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, the chairman of the event, Ambassador Oladapo Fafowora, highlights the need for the government to connect with the public in foreign policy formulation.
I don't think it's in the interest of our country that the public opinion should not be taken into account in the formulation of foreign policy. The time has come to create a greater awareness, public awareness about foreign policy in our country. But when it comes to foreign policy, I think the attitude of the government is that it is the exclusive preserve.
The lecture, organized by the Association of Retired Career Ambassadors of Nigeria, ACAN, has the chairman of the Society for International Relations Awareness, Professor Nuhu Yakub, as the guest speaker. He is of the opinion that the government needs to re-examine its practice of democracy to reflect well on the nation's foreign policy.
Yes, sometimes they have also come to the conclusion that the foreign policy is becoming too elitist, or is being handled by only the president. And indeed, it's everywhere. Even in Nigeria, when we come to look at what happens in Nigeria, we discover that the head of state has a very distinct role, in fact, overbearing role to play in formulation and implementation of foreign policy.
His position is supported by former diplomats who have served in various capacities in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But others seem not to be quite convinced about the idea.
If you take foreign policy as a strategy, if you take foreign policy as a technique, if you take foreign policy as a process, if you take it as a process, why shouldn't there be democratic control?
There cannot be democratic control, but there can be democratization of foreign policy, by which I mean that all stakeholders in foreign relations, civil associations, and erudite individuals, institutions of higher learning can have an input into the formulation of foreign policy.
Either way, many think Nigeria's foreign policy should be rewritten. The focus, however, remains the point of disagreement. Layo Adegoke, Channels Television News.